All over the US, every day students struggle to understand and read out of their textbooks or read their specific material that they're learning in classes and understand it themselves. Literate practices are a style of teaching to get students to better understand what they're reading from their textbook. Today, I'm going to talk about one in particular that I coined, called silent textbook reading. Scared by that textbook? It may seem huge and scary and intimidating at first, but practice makes perfect. By reading more and more types of math problems, math textbooks, such as theory of numbers, we can learn and be better prepared to read more textbooks in the future and better learn the mathematics that our students may need in the near future. My strategy, silent textbook reading, is relatively easy to implement into a classroom. Following this short step-by-step guide should make it pretty clear on how it's useful and why you might want to use it. Step 1, getting comfortable. Math, a lot of times, stresses the students out, especially when they're reading it and they're learning new terms and learning about variables even, all these kinds of things. So if the students are in a more comfortable position, relaxed, making them feel like they're choosing to read about math rather than being forced, that will cause them to be more motivated and enjoy the entire process much more. Step 2, silent reading time. After getting comfortable, the students will be urged to read from a section of the textbook that they need to read from to learn the material. Instead of lecturing or even hand-holding the students, the teacher's goal is for them to learn directly from the textbook rather than from the teacher. This way, they become more comfortable with learning the information rather than straight up being taught it from a teacher, being held. From this, the students can be better equipped to understand the math and feel more comfortable reading it in the future and learning about it in the future. Step 3, and the final step, is practice. After giving students sufficient time to read the material and learn it on their own, give some practice problems out of the textbook or of your own creation so that the students can use what they learned and make sure to solidify what they just read. Be sure to encourage the students to get material and double check what they just read to make sure they fully understood what was going on, rather than just giving them the straight answer when they ask for questions, because inevitably they will, especially at first. Over time, eventually the students will hopefully get used to reading out of the textbook and become that much better and quicker at reading in general, especially when it comes to math materials. My strategy, silent textbook reading, is relatively easy. While this strategy is geared towards teaching mathematics in particular, as students oftentimes learn directly from the teacher rather than a textbook, um, you could use it in basically any subject, having students get comfortable, sit down on their own and read the book just to read the book with no questions looming at the end, although you should end up giving them questions eventually about it. At the end of the day, this strategy will make students more proficient at reading out of textbooks, reading nonfiction information, and it will cause them to be more encouraged to read it in the future, either on their own or with instruction from a teacher. It also will cause them to become faster readers, which just makes it all the easier for students to read more information in the future. I'm Artie Koba. Thank you for listening.